of Kali, and I will guide you through the next 3 chapters. In this chapter, we are going to talk about geospatial data or maps, and will, after a few theoretical informations, create a map in Tableau. One of the most important encodings for maps are colors. Here an example of a map colored with a very unusual color scale. It is hard to see where this ocean starts or where the land is. This shows that it is important to think about what colors to use, and if there are color scales which are used normally for maps, you should use them. Here we can see the same map again, this time with a color scale we know. We have two continuous color scales, one from light blue to dark blue for the ocean areas, and from light brown to dark brown for the land areas. One important thing which also here used we're going to talk is about contrast. Here an example from a paper from 1993. The question is the red or the green area bigger? Please look and think for a second which one you would think is bigger. Most people answer that actually the red area is bigger than the green area. This effect happens because through the high saturation of the colors, red bleeds into the green area and gives us the perception of being bigger. So one very important lesson when coloring maps is try to use low saturated colors so that there is not a color size illusion. On the right side, we can see now coloring of a map with very low saturated colors, and the red doesn't feel bigger than the green one. As you might have guessed, both areas have the same size. If you look at any source, any mapping tool out there, you will see that they use this idea. They use low saturated colors for all the big areas like the ocean here, the land, or like some green areas like forests or national parks, and high saturated colors for landmarks, streets, and cities to make them jump out and be easily visible. This very short theoretical underground, we go now to our Tableau tutorial. Tableau provides us a simple way to draw the map by using latitude and longitude. In addition, it has a helper function which detects country names and draws the map based on those. Our dataset has a field called country names, and we simply drag it into the center of our new sheet. Instantaneously, Tableau creates latitude and longitude values for each of the countries and draws the map with bubbles inside. Many of us might have seen these maps in the last days, as they are used a lot in newspapers and news. And you might wonder how efficient it is to use bubbles or circles on a map. Let's try it out together. Let's drag GDP per capita on size on our map. We see Tableau uses now the size to encode the GDP per capita for each country. And we immediately see a huge problem with this kind of encoding. Here in Europe are many countries close to each other, and the bubbles overlap each other. So we can't really see anything. In the part before, we have seen that color is used a lot in maps. So let's change the encoding from size to color and look how it looks then. We drag GDP per capita to color and get a map where each country is colored by the value. This allows us to see the map without overlapping elements. But when we zoom in, we can see that it's really hard to distinguish where on the scale is a certain country. For that, we are going to change the color scale for our map visualization. We can do this by double-clicking the color bar here. We see now the used color. We are going to use the stepped color with 3 steps to find out what are the top 33% richest countries and the lowest 30% countries. Another thing we might do, as we learned before, is to look at the color used and try to use a very low saturated one. We click on the color here and go into the center and reduce the saturation of the color. We press apply, OK, and now the map changed quite drastically. As you might try to move around, you realize you can't really because selection mode is activated. To do this, we go here on this small triangle, and there are 3 selection modes, 1 mode to move the map around and 1 area zoom. We click on the second one, and now we can drag around in the map. We can see now that to the top countries in Europe, actually only Luxembourg is. And then there are a lot of like Central and Central European countries are in the middle block, from Austria, Germany, Switzerland. And a lot of the countries to the east seem to be below that. Let's try to increase the resolution of the color map to get more fine-grained information. We can do that again by double-clicking the color map and setting it to 5 steps. We can now see that Austria in this visualization actually falls into the same area as Poland, Czechia, Slovakia and Hungary and Slovenia and Italy, and not anymore with Germany or Switzerland. While as Luxembourg is still the richest one. So be careful when you choose your bucketing, which countries fall together depends strongly how many buckets you choose, which also changes the story. If you want to reset the map, you can click on this bin here to reset the map to the original zooming state. And we can see that most parts of Africa actually are in the lowest 20% of the GDP over the world. With that, you can actually play now around with other measures to understand the world through different lenses. Thank you.